Hey guys, Crispy here. So just continuing on the series. The next unit I decided to pick was the good old trusty truck. So now, obviously in dread mobs, you may not be using trucks. You might be using boys on foot. I myself, I used to run a single truck with a just a shooter boy squad sitting in there, so 10 guys. And you know they were reasonably handy. 5th edition. My truck was pretty good. It used to hang out quite a bit, and then the ramshackle rule generally shot my shooter boys off in a random direction, so it was pretty fun. 6th and 7th edition was less reliable. A few times I've had people just sort of shoot a flamer in there and just burn everyone alive, so that was really fun. A couple times, I got some shots off and killed something good, but very rarely was the truck really performing. I did once actually cause a hull point on I can't remember what the ship's called. I think it's called a Storm Raven or something, like a really big, massive Space Marine, and it's got 12 on the front and sides, but it has 10 in the back. And I shot my little rocket up into it and caused a hull point, and that was probably the most standout moment for my good old truck, and that's over the course of 6th and 7th edition, so I don't even know how many years that is, but quite a bit. Anyway, let's go into the changes that 8th edition brings to the humble truck. So, looking at this, for starters, this is the first unit that I've reviewed which actually deteriorates as it takes wounds. So, it starts off at movement 12, so that's pretty quick. Now, vehicles, they advance like infantry, so you roll a d6 and you move that on top of your movement in the movement phase. So that gives you roughly what, if you average 3 inches on a roll, is it 3? Maybe 4. So you're probably averaging between 15 and 16 inches every turn, so that's pretty good. Obviously, you can also re-roll that using your command points if that's what you want to waste them on. What else have we got? We come with weapon skill 5 because now vehicles can fight in combat. So we're hitting on 5s, we're ballistic skill 5, so obviously weapon skill 5, that's new. I believe that when you had a wrecking ball you always hit on a 4, so I suppose in that respect some people might be like, oh no, my wrecking balls are hitting on 5s now, but that's not too much of an issue. Ballistic skill 5, so we're hitting on 5s now. So that's no change. Strength. So strength is a statistic that also varies based on wounds. We're starting off at strength 6, so really pretty good. We're toughness 6. Again, I mean that seems pretty solid. A marine is toughness 4, so that's pretty good. We have 10 wounds, which trucks were 3 hull points previously, so 10 wounds is massive. Attacks wise, that again is another statistic that varies. Let's have a little look here. So, looking at this, it looks like attacks, we get 3 attacks to begin with, and then quite quickly the attacks start to deteriorate, so they go from 3 to D3 and then finally 1 when we're pretty close to death. Movement wise, I didn't detail this, so we go from 12 to 8 and then 6 again when we're close to death. You have to take quite a few wounds though for these to start being changed or go lower. Strength goes from 6 to 5 and then finally 4, so that's not too bad either. Weapon wise, we have the good old trusty big shooter, assault 3, 36-inch range, strength 5, damage 1. The good old rocket, which is a 24-inch assault 1, strength 8, negative 2 on your save, and 3 damage per hit. And then we also have our wrecking ball, which let's see, it has a rule here. The bearer can only make 3 attacks with this weapon each time it fights. Well, I mean, we only have 3 attacks anyway. The strength becomes strength 7, negative 1 to your AP, and 1 damage. So not too bad really. I mean, a wrecking ball does add quite a bit to this model. Points wise, I'm not entirely sure because I haven't even looked at the points for the wrecking ball, so I couldn't tell you whether that's really worth it or not. I don't imagine it's going to be too expensive, and it just all depends on what you want to do with your trucks. Then we have the ramshackle rule. Now this is a really good rule, I think. So on the roll of a 6, we actually reduce the damage of an attack to 1. So that's quite huge. And yeah, so that is pretty good. We're open topped again. That allows you to shoot from the vehicle as it does now, as it does well in previous editions, 5th, 6th, and 7th. But also it allows you to shoot enemies as they charge in. You can do the stand and shoot. So that is pretty good as well. What else? If the model explodes on a 6, you suffer D3 mortal wounds for every unit that is within 6 inches of it. So that is on the roll of a 6 though. So once it gets reduced to 0 wounds, roll a dice on a 6, D3 mortal wounds for everyone within 6. So I mean, most of the time your trucks are probably going to be sitting right up in the enemy's face, so that's not going to affect you too much. Transport vehicles now, there's another thing that I should probably touch on. You can add in as any units you want. You can mix and match. Obviously, in this case, in case of the truck, you can transport 12 guys. But you could make that 2 units of 5 tank busters, for instance, and then 2 characters. That could make the 12, as long, you know, so like, you know, you can mix and match. Mega armor and jump packs, they count as 2 for the purposes of transport. The other thing that is not so great is when a vehicle is reduced to 0, the occupants, you have to roll a dice for each of them, including your characters separately. Characters, on the roll of a 1, that character is just dead. And you know, with the units, it's a bit different because the controlling player removes casualties, so you don't have to now roll separately for your big shooters or anything like that, which is a plus. But then on the same token, you know, you don't really want to roll a 1 for that awesome mega boss, you know, in his mega armor. You roll that 1 and he's just gone. So that's a fairly large downside there. But all in all, I think the trucks are a good solid choice. So yeah, as I said, we've got 10 wounds, we've got 3 attacks, we're leadership 6 with a 4+ save. It's already been touched on if you've been following a lot of this stuff. One really good tactic with all of these things is, now disembark happens at the start of the movement phase. So obviously your truck's probably going to take at least 2 rounds of shooting. So you want to move him up as quick as you can, and then in the next turn, hopefully you'll be close enough. You both unload, and then as far as I can see in the rules, you can then move. I couldn't see anything that stopped you from doing this. I could be wrong. If anyone has the rules, let me know on this. But then I believe that you can move and then charge. So even if I'm wrong, you might only be able to charge once you disembark. But I couldn't see anything where it stopped you from moving from that point on. But yeah, as I said, I haven't really dug too deeply into the core rules. I've just been looking at the rules of the units. So let's say even if that doesn't happen, what you want to do is you want to declare the charge with the truck first. It doesn't say you have to declare all charges now, as far as I can see. When I was looking at the charging rules, you can pick a unit, declare your charge, resolve the charge, and the person can choose to overwatch or not. So if your truck makes it, awesome. And if they choose not to overwatch, then the truck will be within 1 inch and they won't be able to overwatch whatever the truck was transporting, and then the transport unit can charge freely. So that's really cool. Obviously, if the truck goes to charge and it's shot to death, then that's not really going to help you too much, because then the unit will be able to overwatch again. I couldn't see any limitations on the amount of times you can overwatch in the rules. You just can't overwatch if there's an enemy within 1 inch. But still, it's a viable tactic. Trucks are 4+ save, 10 wounds, so there's a good chance that it's going to live through a couple rounds of shooting anyway, and probably still have a couple wounds left over. And while they're busy trying to stop this truck, you know, you're going to have all your other things coming down on top of them anyway. So I think it's pretty good. Frontline Gaming, they were speaking about the truck, and they spoke about the points in regards to the truck, and they said that a truck costs 75 points. So 75 points, I think it's decent. Obviously, I think previously we were paying something like ridiculous, like 25 points and maybe 35 points with some weapons. but you know, previously we were only getting 3 wounds. We weren't getting any sort of armor save. We were moving a little bit faster, but you know, now we're getting a 4+ save. We've got 10 wounds. I think it's all gravy. It's all really good. So what else? Let's go on to the support units. Obviously, support wise, again, it's going to be the mechs. So we can get 3 mechs in both looters and burner boys, and they can do 1 automatic wound. They can restore 1 automatic wound to an orc vehicle, but you can only do that once per phase to 1 vehicle. So if once one of the mechs has done it, then no one else can do it, sort of thing. Big mech does D3 wounds back, and you know, but obviously he's costing extra. And then you've got the single mech by himself who takes up an elite slot. You know, he's quite cheap points wise, but again, as I've said in the Death Dread video, you know, he's taking up an entire elite slot by himself, 1 model. So if you're not planning on using your elites, then he's a pretty good choice. He's got the character rule. I believe he's got 2 wounds. I'll have to double check that. You know, so he's alright. He's alright. He's not a bad choice. And you know, he comes with a bunch of different weapons. You can give him the you know, custom Mega Blaster if you want to watch him die. So yeah, so that's the truck basically. 75 points, 10 wounds, moving 12, able to run, which is new. Able to fight in combat, again, new. 3 attacks. Give him that Wrecking Ball for the Strength 7. But, you know, your attacks and things are going pretty quickly. You've only got a 4+ save. I don't know if the Wrecking Ball is going to be worth it, to be honest. And the only reason why I say that is, obviously it depends on how you're using your trucks and what sort of Orc army you're playing. I've never come across it yet, but maybe you might be playing some sort of Orc gun line. I mean, it's definitely possible with all the different lobbers and all that sort of stuff. You could definitely put together a fairly nasty Orc gun line. And then maybe you've got your squishy 12-man troop units sitting, you know, up near your edge, firing rockets or machine guns or whatever, and then maybe you might want to use them as a counter assault unit. You could do that with a Wrecking Ball. So you know, it might be worth it in that case. Repairing these guys is pretty easy. I would just, you know, stick one of them cheap mechs on there, the 22 points I think they are, something like that. Just the elite choice, stick him on there, restore 1 wound a turn. Yeah, and the truck is not too bad. 75 points, 10 wounds, 4+ save. So guys, thanks for listening. Obviously, if you like the videos, please like and subscribe. With any rules that I get wrong, you know, leave a comment. Let me know how I've gotten them wrong or whatever. If you've read the rulebook and you know more about the rulebook than myself, please let me know, because I am all ears. Obviously, like anyone else, I'm learning the edition along with you guys. And yeah, I'll be back shortly with more videos. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.